In this demonstration, we show how we integrate PI2 with JupyterLab to augment the data science workflow by automatically generating interactive data interfaces from SQL queries. Unlike prior systems, PI2 recommends complex interfaces consisting of visualizations, query configuration widgets, and visualization interactions without requiring the user to write any interface code. For our example scenario, let us imagine that we are a data scientist working for a news organization, looking to make a recommendation about travel destinations to avoid in early 2022 due to increases in COVID case counts in certain regions of the United States. We begin by issuing a simple query for summed case counts for all states over time. Here, we use Lux to produce static visualization recommendations for comparison to our system. When we're ready to generate an interface using PI2, we check the checkbox next to the code cell and click on the Generate Interface button at the top right of the notebook. The resulting interface is shown in the Generated Interfaces panel on the right. In the resulting interface, we can see that PI2 infers a similar static visualization as Lux for the simple case of a single query. To view the plot in greater detail, we add new queries that restrict the date range, such as the 2 half-month periods at the end of 2021. For static visualization recommendation, this produces the expected plots over narrower date ranges. However, if we check the checkboxes next to the code cells and generate a new interface version with these new queries, PI2 infers that we are querying for a varying date range, and generates an appropriate interaction to express all queries of that form. Here, we can see that PI2 has generated 2 plots linked by a brushing interaction. The first plot shows the entire timeline, while the second shows the detailed view of the date windowed query. If we brush over the timeline, the detail plot updates. PI2 has generalized our date window queries so that we can express arbitrary queries of a similar form via an interface interaction. To make our recommendation of what states to avoid traveling to, we want to see a breakdown of case count by state so that we can see where case counts are rising. We issue a new set of queries, selecting state along with case counts by date, again in window date ranges. Here, we see that Lux has generated a choropleth map of average case count over the entire date window to visualize the results. This isn't what we want, as it doesn't allow us to view trends over time. Again, we select these queries and click the Generate Interface button. Again, PI2 produces 2 plots, one as the overall timeline view from before, and another with a time-windowed view, but now with a breakdown of case counts by state. In this version, we have a double brushing interaction in which we can brush over either plot to change the date range of the other. This double brushing interaction allows us to express all of the queries expressible by the previous version, in addition to the new queries. This shows how PI2 might express the same set of queries via different interfaces depending on context. However, this plot is hard to interpret visually due to the amount of distinct states represented. To remedy this, we issue 2 new queries. Here, we're querying for only those states whose average case counts in a given time window exceed the average case counts across all states in the same region by joining against another table that gives states per region. This gives us an indication of where case counts are above average. Since PI2 operates on differences between abstract syntax trees, we can issue arbitrarily complex SQL queries and expect PI2 to be able to generate an interface. In the resulting interface, we express all of the queries so far with 2 plots and some configuration widgets. One plot is the overall timeline view. The other plot is controlled by the configuration widgets. A toggle allows us to switch between the plot visualizing the full state breakdown and a new plot visualizing just those states that meet the above average criterion. We also now have 2 buttons labeled South and Northeast, corresponding to regions. If we click on one of these buttons, the filtered state breakdown plot will update to show only above average states in that region. Finally, we maintain this double brushing interaction that allows us to vary date ranges in all plots. From this interface, we can find that in the South, case counts are sharply on the rise in Florida, and in the Northeast, the same is true of New York. Thanks to the generalization of our queries, we can also search back over historical data, gaining an understanding of the data interactively. In summary, we extend the JupyterLab computational notebook with PI2, a system for automatically generating interactive data interfaces from SQL queries, allowing users to switch between writing code and using interactive data interfaces without writing interface or visualization code. Thank you for your time.